Welcome to Obstacle Running Adventures,
the podcast that fuels your passion for obstacle course racing,
running, and all things adventurous.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or a weekend warrior,
we've got news updates as well as interviews with athletes
and other key members of our athletic community.
As a weekly show since 2017, we have covered everything from
championship and virtual races
to fundraising events and FKTs. And now, here are your hosts,
Michael Stefano and Caitlin Ritter.
Standing on the corner, lost all my clothes.
Hey guys, it's Michael Stefano.
And Caitlin Ritter. And Mikey, how was your weekend?
Pretty good. Nothing big happened, right?
No, I don't think so.
Nothing big happened. Just kidding. What happened?
We picked up our puppy.
Yeah, we got a puppy, so we got the post out about that earlier today. Had some troubles with the aspect ratio, but I spent so much time working on it that I was glad we were able to put it out. And what's her name?
Lucy. Fur.
Yeah, Lucy.
Lucy.
We love her, and she is a lot of work.
Yes, this is our first puppy as adults.
Right.
So, when you're little, you think the puppy is just like easy peasy.
Yeah, she's a lot of work, but she's also really good. So
yes,
it's a blend of
we're
that.
Not complaining at all. She's crate trained. She's housebroken.
Yep. She
walks on a leash pretty decently.
We did like a run right before this, which is when I realized I'm horribly out of shape.
Yeah.
But she was also going fast, and I was going faster than I would ever run.
She's typically. Labrador Retriever and Hound.
Mix, yeah.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm. And there'll be more information for the patrons, but go watch that Instagram video too.
It's so good.
Yeah, I put a lot of work into that, and I took a lot out to make sure it was like 4 minutes-ish, because it was kind of long.
It makes me emotional every time I watch it.
Yeah, you've watched it a lot, which is good, because, yeah. Let's see, give a shout out to the sponsors.
Mudgear, use code ADVENTURE for 15% off your next Mudgear purchase, and Caterpie, use code OCR Report 20 for 20% off your next Caterpie purchase. Use code OCR Report 20 for 20% off your next Spartan Deca or Tough Mudder event.
Perfect. We're going to shout out the $5+ patron supporters because it's not the first of the month yet, which is good because our September Patreon video is not out yet.
Well, it had to wait.
It had to wait for the dog. Yes, it is.
And we got delayed a week because they spayed her.
Yes. Right. $5+ patron supporters.
Jason Dupree, Samantha Thompson, Bradley Keel, Charlotte Engelman, Aaron Grindstaff, Lauren Stephen Ritter, Hank and Arlene Stefano, Cheryl Miller, Jessica Johnson, Christopher Hoover, Kevin Gregory Jr., Evan Irick, Brent George, Logan Nagel, Asa Connington, Seth Renderknecht, Steve Bacon, Robert Landman, and Jules Estes.
Yeah. Oh, and shout out to Steve Bacon. He just recently had a birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and shout out to Jason Dupree.
Oh, yeah. He got 85 miles?
86.
86 miles into his 100-miler. So, DNF. Join the club. But
my.
much more of an epic DNF than mine. So, congratulations to him. And a shout out to the OCR Report for being a great home for us on the internet.
And to Will Hicks.
The Podfather. Check it out over at theocrreport.com. Caitlin spoon-fed the answer to the riddle.
I did not spoon-feed
Yes, you did. I was sending gifs of that, which was really funny. God, I hate this chair that I'm sitting in. It keeps falling. Fun fact, if you watch the videos of me doing interviews, you'll just see me start getting lower and lower and lower.
That never happens to me, but I always sit in this chair.
And that chair is worse because the seat is like tilted at a weird angle.
I tried my best.
I know. It's the only fails we've had from IKEA, are the two chairs.
No, these chairs aren't even IKEA. They're Amazon Basics.
Oh. Well, they basically suck.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's so funny. Okay.
Yeah.
We
Shout
need
out
new chairs.
to maybe our next Patreon.
What?
Not Patreon.
IKEA?
Yeah, our next Patreon, when we spend money, we can buy ourselves new desk chairs.
Oh. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Actually, I have a really nice IKEA desk chair at work.
Yeah?
I love it. Everybody sits in it and loves it.
What the hell? You're holding out on me. Actually, the August Patreon video is actually really talking about what we're planning to do with the money moving forward. So that's good stuff, too. Another plug there. Let's see. Poll results. We did
do a poll.
Did we shout out the athletes?
Shout out Javier Escobar, Kelly Sullivan, Ryan Brizzalara, Joshua Reed, and Kevin Gregory.
Yes. The puppy has impacted my sleep. I don't know if you can tell. But poll results. So I posted, what are your thoughts about the OCR CWC news?
20% of people said I like the name change and location. 15% of people said I like the name change, not the location. 35% of people said I like the location but not the name change, and 30% of people said, I don't like either change.
And I think this might have been like one of the top 2 times we've had the most responses, because we had like 80 responses or something crazy like that, right? So
it's crazy that we had that many responses and all of the numbers are like increments of 5.
Yeah, it looks like there wasn't many. Also, doing the quick math, not 80, 40.
Yeah.
Still a lot, but also half of 80. Meme of the week, we're going to skip and head right on over to quick news, starting off with Chainsaw Rick, who also just had a birthday.
Wow, so many birthdays.
And now has more stuff to celebrate.
Chainsaw Rick said, I have rung a lot of bells in this life, maybe 1,000. This bell right here has been the most difficult to reach. Final chemotherapy infusion round complete. Scan scheduled to see how the tumor has shrunk and on to the next treatment phase. Radiation and chemo pills.
Yeah, congratulations to him on his continued road to recovery. Glad he's doing a lot better now.
That's awesome.
Next up, we have Joe Rucco. His wife Lindsay posted,
Friday, September 19th at 4:55 p.m., our little Miss Rosalie girl was born unexpectedly almost 2 weeks early.
Oh, wow.
She was breech almost the whole pregnancy and did not want to come on her scheduled C-section date. We're overjoyed that she's here with us, and Anthony loves his baby sister. Keeps talking about how beautiful and cute she is.
Aww.
That's really cute.
Yeah, congratulations to them. Joe, go update that shirt.
She looks so peaceful.
Yeah. And more unfortunate news, but keeping with the baby theme.
Oh no. Corey McGee.
Yeah, she's like an Olympic athlete.
Okay. A few weeks ago, my husband and I lost our perfect and beautiful son, James. We will never have the answers to why or how this happened. There are no words to make it make sense, and there are no words to say to make it better. He is with us for 8 beautiful months, and he made me a mother. For that, I am forever grateful for him.
Yeah, so our condolences to her.
Wow.
But
That's
good for
really
her for
sad.
speaking up about it, which I can only imagine she kind of has to do when she does a post about the pregnancy and then oh, what happened?
And
so,
to make it to 8 months.
Yeah,
that's really scary.
That is really sad. News that people are reacting as if it was as sad as that last news story.
Talk about perspective. OCRWC announces new name and venue for 2026 Australia.
Yes.
Not to be confused with Austria.
Yes, which we had that conversation.
The OCR report shared Spartan and the OCRWC announced the rebranding of the longest-running independent OCR World Championship race as the OCR Community World Champions. The OCRWC was founded in 2014 by Adventure as the first independent OCR World Championship event. It was acquired by Spartan in 2023.
Yes. So the 2026 OCR Community World Championships will debut in May 2026. Our cat Appa is trying to get our attention, and it is working. Yeah, so May 2026 in Australia. Registration will open October 10th, 2025. Race distances will include the 80-meter sprint. What the hell's up with that? Interesting. 3K, the 6K team relay, and 15K classic. Weird that it's 80 meters. There will be a qualification process for athletes seeking to race in the elite categories. More info to register, go to OCRWorldChampionships.com. So they kept the website. Direct link in the Instagram stories. So, real quick, I want to go over my thoughts about it. I think that this is good. I think that the biggest issue is that they had said, hey, we'll be on the East Coast of the United States. And some people took stock in that. And I say some people because only some people registered. OCR is not doing too hot in the US in terms of number of participants. So I understand them going to Australia. And to all the people that are saying oh, well, who's going to go to Australia? Australians, the whole APAC region. They still have the pro team in Asia. And I don't think a lot of people understand how big, still OCR in that part of the world as well too. So yeah, maybe we'll have next episode on that. We will see. All right, so this one comes to us from Ragnar.
Ragnar posted, new 2026 race announcement. Can you solve this riddle? Once carved by ice, now carved by stride, a hidden hollow mountainside. From winter's fire to summer's run, a test of grit for everyone.
Yeah, and there's some good guesses in there, but it's most likely hinting to a new venue next year. And it sounds like there's a lot of things that fit that description. So yeah, follow along to that if you want to figure out what the answer is for that event. And this comes to us from Talking Dirty OCR.
They posted, I am so pleased to finally share this with you. The Ultimate Girl Power Training Camp is here. led by two of the very best athletes in the world. Both are currently national OCR championships and are ranked within the world's top 10. B. Rubio, the Queen of Spain and the very best promoter of hashtag girl power around the world. And Signy.
We've had her on the show.
Kolsto, the Queen of Norway and one of the most competent obstaclers in any field.
Yeah, so that sounds like a fun little training thing that you can do. It'd be cool to have Bea on the show, because I've heard good things about her as well. Now we're going to head right over to podiums, starting with Midwest OCR 10K podiums.
For third place, Marquez Green. In second place, Kevin Thompson. And in first place, Noah Busher.
Nice. And for the ladies?
In third place, Erin. In second place, Kaylee Winsma. And in first place, Courtney Washington.
Nice. And now for the Bearded Challenge men podium.
In third place, Joelle Rose. In second place, Eric Carranza. And in first place, when they do that?
Mono Blanco.
Oh.
I'd assume that's his name. Well,
congratulations.
Maybe.
And they posted
the one woman who finished the Bearded Challenge.
And it is Vivien Tran.
Yeah, who you'll be hearing from both her and Kevin in this episode in a little bit.
Do you not have to have a beard to win the Bearded Challenge?
No, I believe it's like 3 laps of the course.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
Which they should be more vocal about, like what that is in the description. Quick heads up to Aaron and Dana in case they're listening to that.
Mekadu, what is this episode about?
Well, first, there's 5 secret links down below. I haven't pulled them out yet, but I'm sure they're good
sorry.
ones. But yeah, the episode is all about the FISO OCR World Championships and something else we will get to in a bit. But they recently had their 3rd event weekend in Sweden this year. And by all accounts, it was the best one so far. Now, admittedly, this is somewhat a low bar due to overflowing porta potties in Belgium, many obstacles not being built in Costa Rica, etc. However, by working alongside a tough Viking crew, they had plenty of experience to put on a proper world, or in this case, autocorrect word, championship event. So 2 members of the USAOCR team, Vivien Tran and Kevin Thompson, wanted to come on the show, talk about their experience at the event, differences from previous years, and a whole lot of that aspect of the event. They also have their own regional championships, which will be held at the War X venue towards the end of June next year. So if you have any interest in representing your country on an elite or age group or Paralympic level in the next FISO OCR World Championships, or if you want to compete in this USA OCR Championship or volunteer to help out the organization, please reach out to them via Instagram or on the website. I do think that they're doing good work. I can be a little sassy about the event. I don't love everything about it, but I think this is really good to see, and I think they're doing good work and deserve the support. So let's get to the interview with them. All right, so we'll just start off with your names and where you're from.
I'm Vivien Tran, and I'm from Dallas, Texas.
And I'm Kevin Thompson, and I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Perfect. Before we get into the bulk of the episode, Vivien, we haven't had you on the show in a while. How has your OCR career been lately?
Yeah, the last time I spoke to you was, I believe it was June or July of 2024. So you were talking to me about the Ask Us Spartacus Dash. Oh yeah, we're going to have a guest. Midnight is my cat. And so you're going to get cat content on your interview. My OCR season in 2025 has been amazing. This has been the best year, my performance. I think myself, Kevin, Courtney, we're some of the more active members on the pro team. And yeah, we've just been hitting all kinds of races, but especially the independent OCR races that are USA OCR qualifiers.
Yeah, love it. And then you're also kind of double dipping a little bit. You're part of the Evan Preparis' team too, right?
Yeah, the Mud Gear Handball Race Pro Team.
That one. Perfect. And then Kevin, I try to remember the last time we had you on the show. It might have been OCRWC way back. How have things been going with you this year? Getting a decent amount of wins in too.
Yeah. Been trying to get a lot of racing under my belt the last couple of years to see if I can kind of like prove myself in the sport. And I think last year was kind of like my big breakout year. I got a lot of wins. And then this year I'm just trying to keep the ball rolling, especially with Midwest OCR this week. Going to try and repeat as champion of that from last year.
Yeah, awesome. And then how have things been going with your teammates?
Great. We've keep adding more and more people to the pro team. Like me and Vivien started last year. We added Courtney and the Green brothers this year. And all of us are part of USA OCR as well. And I think our skill sets. Like Vivian said, like we definitely try to hit more of the independent OCRs, one that definitely lead to our skills improving for races like the FISO OCR World Championships, where you have to be very proficient on obstacles while also still being fast.
Right. Yeah, it definitely has a good blend of both. Whereas Spartan has had some issues in the past, and especially with their elite way that they've been doing everything with penalty laps, and then sometimes you can grab above the implements, and yeah.
Spartan's still super fun, but only when I can get a lot of great people showing up, like at the national series.
Yeah, no, exactly. So you both competed in the FISO OCR World Championships. Can you explain, because it's a lot of confusion out there, myself included, and I should know this stuff, the difference between FISO, UIPM, which is putting on their event later on in October. What's the difference between those?
I think Kevin could probably speak more to UIPM. I think as far as we can say, I can say the difference with like OCRWC, what was hosted in Mammoth versus FISO, and OCRWC was mandatory obstacle completion, whereas the FISO OCRWC utilizes the 3-band system. And like Kevin was saying, that it requires obstacle proficiency, kind of similar to Spartan on the rigs. You only get one try. And so for those types of rigs, once an attempt is made and you fall off, or you happen to cross, like you touch one of the lines, the starting line or the end line, they'll cut off your band. And so once they cut off your band, once you get to close to the finish line, there's a penalty loop that you have to do right before you get to the finish. And so if you cut 2 bands, you have to do 2 penalty loops. If 3 bands are cut, then you technically get a do not complete or a DNC. And so the stakes are high, but super fun. Like, I really like this format. I think it's very challenging.
Yeah, it's, to be honest, not my favorite format that I've seen, but I get the allure of it. It's just tricky with, when I think of it as a spectator, seeing everyone like go towards the finish, not knowing like who has the penalty or not. How clear is it like with the bracelets? I'm just trying to think from like a spectator point of view of like, you think someone's in the lead, but like, oh, I forgot that they failed this one, and then they do the penalty.
They did a great job announcing. I think they had a lot of people, a lot of different judges and volunteers seeing how many bands, and they definitely stop you before you get to the penalty loop to count your bands. And so the announcer will make a big deal about it, like, oh, USA Vivien Tran's coming, but she has 2 bands, she has to go to the penalty loop, so everybody in the audience can hear.
Okay.
But when we're mid-course, or the beginning, if a band is lost, you won't know. You can kind of get a guess if you look at like one of your contenders.
Yeah, that's got to be tough as a competitor too, like seeing, like trying to gauge where the person is, how many bands they have and everything. Just another interesting factor, but it's definitely it's different. And I think variety is good for OCR. So I do like that.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, my favorite format now. Like you said in the beginning, like it's a little skeptical how it's going to work and everything. But after doing it for the last 3 years, I think it's definitely become my favorite format, even over mandatory obstacle completion. It kind of keeps everybody on course moving instead of someone being stuck at an obstacle for maybe an hour or 2 even. And then then finally getting through the obstacle, which is super exciting and awesome in some mandatory races. But this kind of keeps everyone moving. And so you can kind of still be competitive even if you can't clear an obstacle on the first try.
Yeah,
but, I'm sorry.
That's a good point. I mean, that's a problem that a lot of people have had with the Savage Race series too, right? When you see a whole bunch of the men or the women get to the Savage Rig, and it's like, all right, the race kind of comes down to that. It can make it a little lackluster to see like, oh, all right, this person's stuck there, and the race is over for them.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, like even within like the Spartan World Championships, the different championships they've had, it ends up becoming a running game, because then a lot of athletes can fail obstacles and just run their penalty loops or do their burpees. And to me, that's not very exciting, because we're doing obstacle course racing. So completing an obstacle, especially within the 3-band system, really, really grasps that proficiency in my opinion.
For sure. It kind of like, I keep like going back to like what I grew up with, like Mario, like you get your 3 lives and then you can't, if you fail 3 times, then you die. Your race is over.
Good analogy.
You're speaking my language there, Kevin. And then
go back and talk about the UIPM
Yeah, please.
if you want. So FISO is under World Obstacle, and then UIPM is the international governing body for pentathlon. And so pentathlon and World Obstacle are considering a merger. And so in the future, World Obstacle could be under UIPM. But currently it's still separate, but there was a motion passed at the last assembly to consider talking about integration between the two companies. And so the UIPM is putting on the event in China later this year, not World Obstacle. So pentathlon is just putting on that OCR. So it's still separate, but in the future they could become one. And so pentathlon would kind of have control over obstacle course racing throughout the world.
Okay, that makes sense. And then do you guys have personal thoughts on that potential merger at all?
Well,
I do.
Probably read between the lines there.
Fair.
Yeah. There's pros and cons, for sure. One thing that was discussed is pentathlon is a very old sport. And then once you're at Olympic level with things, there's a lot more funding that can happen. And so that can be very good for the sport, that a lot of different ways to push money into the sport and help it grow can help that way. And then there's other negatives that I hope we don't see.
Valid. That's fair. And you're right. That the biggest positive that I've been hearing from everyone is money, and money in the sport would definitely be super helpful. But of course, when you get to be in a bigger stage, sometimes there's bigger problems. But you're right. Hopefully, we don't have to talk about that now or in the future. So there's that. And then, as you said, Vivien, too, not to be confused with OCR WC, now renamed today OCR CWCs. So what are your thoughts on that differentiation?
We were literally talking about this a couple hours ago.
I don't know. It's probably not the biggest fan of the rebrand, but I'll just leave it at that.
Feel the same way. I'm not a huge advocate for it right now, but I will say OCR WC is one of the things that got me into the sport, and I have some of my best memories ever with some of my friends racing back in Canada and Stratton all 4 years. And I was even at the event in Texas, the first USA
OCR
by Adventury, way back in 2016, I think. So I think they've definitely made their mark in the history books with some of the best events ever. And I only hope the best for them, that they continue that. But I guess we shall see.
Fair. Awesome. So moving on to the main event one of the main events that we want to talk about. So the FISO OCR World Championships, little history lesson for the people that haven't been following along. But the first one was held in Belgium, had a fair share of some issues there, but it was a good first event. Second one was in Costa Rica. There were some issues there with obstacles not being built. I heard a lot of really good things about this year in Sweden. So can you guys tell me about your experiences?
I haven't had the experience in Belgium, but I had the experience in Costa Rica. And so that was the biggest issue, was that not all the obstacles were constructed yet. We saw that in the short course and the standard course. And we've had an incident where there was an Instagram influencer that had like over 200 of their followers tear down one in the middle of the night, and they had to rebuild immediately. And so it was different. It was certainly different. The host country for Costa Rica, I think, did the best that they could, and we still had a great time. I still thought it was challenging. It was still a fast course. Like even having the standard course in a coffee plantation, which I thought was beautiful. I personally liked it, but going to Sweden, very organized. Staffing was just everywhere that they needed to be. We had really challenging and fun obstacles throughout the short course and the standard course. I love the new format of the relay. We could probably get into that a little bit more, but I think Kevin has more info from Belgium to Costa Rica.
Yeah, Belgium, I I will still stand by that Belgium was the hardest OCR race I've ever done. Some of the obstacles there were insane, but they insane in a good way. Like they were so fun to even try, but it led to a lot of people failing, and I don't think they don't think they anticipated that as much. And then, like Vivien said, Costa Rica was still challenging, but in a different way. It was a very fast course, especially for the short course, but which was awesome to have the same thing, but in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And then Belgium, you were right, though, definitely had its fair share of hiccups. The one that will always stand out to me, though, is they didn't have the bathrooms changed the entire time. And so at the end of the weekend, the porta potties were very, very full.
Yep. Absolutely. And then when after the first year, when they said like Costa Rica, everyone's first reaction was like, oh, that's going to be a beautiful place to race, ... Is there a big OCR presence there? So that was something that was a big worry for Costa Rica. Ended up maybe being a bit of a factor there. But then when they announced for this year being in Sweden, Sweden very much has a big OCR presence there. So this was the same venue as Tough Viking, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Awesome. So how was the venue choice?
From my point of view, it was awesome. Like everything was centrally located. They had everything you needed within walking distance, pretty much. They had plenty of food trucks, bathrooms. You could park easily. Transportation to get there and from there was great. There was pretty much, I was discussing this like with my wife. I was like, I don't think there is a negative thing I could think about that happened in Sweden.
Only the rain, though. It did rain like almost every day. But it made it
that just
fun
made it
and
more
challenging,
fun.
though. It did. Like the relay was nuts. I think that was probably the worst weather most
it's so
athletes
great.
have ever raced in, ever.
Oh, wow.
But as far as the venue as a race course, I loved that it did have a mix of flats, hills, technical terrain, some muddy areas. And so it really challenged us in our speed and endurance. And then, yeah, personally, I started a little bit hot on the short course, kind of ate it on one of the obstacles. But I don't know, I felt like my strengths came out in like other parts of the course. And so I thought that it had a great variety.
Yeah, again, I was optimistic when I heard Sweden and I heard the venue, and we had one of our friends, Carlo Piscatello, go to Tough Viking and tell us a little bit more about the venue, and it seemed like a great choice. So I'm happy that everything really went well with that. There was also a big change this year too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but previously in almost all World Championship events, you're not allowed to practice on the obstacles, but this one you could, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. On Wednesday for about like 12 to 5 p.m. I mean, every obstacle was fair game. One of the harder ones, the most anticipated ones, is called the Helheim, and that was one of the Taurus rigs, and it's notably known for the Thor hammers at the end of the rig. That one wasn't set up yet, so it's almost as if like they wanted to keep that one under wraps. But they did give people an opportunity in the morning of Thursday to get on that rig and just kind of do a last minute check on your grip and your confidence. So yeah, that was unique, but I think I wouldn't want to do that again because I think people probably overdid it. And so they probably left some of their race in some of the practice.
Sorry, I was going to wait to see if Kevin had any thoughts. I like that a lot because it's something else with, mandatory obstacle completion is that it's in mandatory obstacle completion, you're allowed to make more risks because you can have a second attempt, but also this balances it out too, where having previous exposure on the obstacle or watching other people do the obstacle makes it more interesting because you're not seeing people attempt an obstacle for the first time in a championship event, which I don't think is very fair. So I do think that's smart too, of like watching other people compared to like putting it all out there and ruining yourself. But I think that was a good decision that I was glad to see work out. But that's funny to hear that even the elites kind of go too far sometimes.
And I actually don't know what the actual driver was to allow for an obstacle walkthrough. I think like with many of the European athletes, they've done a lot of the races and obstacles that were featured at FISO. And then nobody in the United States has touched any of those rigs before. I'm not saying that they did it for USA, but it was helpful. I think I thought it was unique. But one thing that I realized that you had mentioned that you kind of make bigger risks when you know that there's mandatory obstacle completion, you get another retry. I think most people ended up doing really well in the 12K on Saturday. It's like, even though they did the obstacle walkthrough on Wednesday or early morning Thursday, they still just didn't know how they were going to race. And so everybody took it like a notch down for the 12K. And I felt like there were more people that finished with 3 bands than the short course on Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh, interesting.
I'm sorry, Thursday and Friday.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with Vivian. Like, it was nice to have for a lot of our USA athletes to be able to like touch the obstacles, because I think a lot of the Europeans have done those rigs, if not very similar rigs. So it was kind of just like the playing field and let everyone, that way no one could be like, oh, well, I never touched this type of obstacle before. But then, like Vivian said, I think a lot of people left their 3K out on that course. But then once we got to the 12K, everyone was a little bit more toned down. So they knew how much to go and how much to hold back.
Nice. Another good bit of feedback that I heard about the event was that the obstacles were better spread out in this course compared to last year, because I think last year you guys, I don't know if it was a coffee plantation, but there was like a bit of like a nature preserve, and so they couldn't build obstacles in some places. But I heard for this event itself, like they spaced them out really well. So did you find that to be the case?
And Kevin, what do you think? I have opinions, but you can go first.
I thought they were very well spaced out this year. I didn't think you ever went through one stretch of course for too long that was like, oh, well, I haven't seen an obstacle in 20 minutes or so. So I thought they did a great job with that park about spacing out the obstacles. And like, we didn't even touch like half that park, I don't think, because me and my wife went back, I think on Monday, and we're just walking around the park, and there was a whole zoo that we didn't even know about in the middle of the course that we just stumbled upon.
That's awesome.
I think with looking back at the 3K and the 12K, it was spaced out really well. However, there were 2 primary gauntlets of obstacles. And once you hit the monkey bars, it was just like rig, 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 or like the rope climb. And then you have 3 rigs in the row. And they were probably only about 200 meters away from each other. And so there was no rest. Like if you went too hard on rope climb and you just used all arms, you're about to go to one of the harder rigs. And then after that, you're going to go to another rope and like traverse bar heavy rig that got a lot of people. And so you had some time to kind of shake it out before the end that took you basically their extended version of Canyon. And then going into like an Irish table, going into the anticipated Helheim, and then going to laser pistol, and then just like running the rest of the stadium with like their couple of other rigs that were in there as well for an exciting finish. So that was probably the 2 areas that were band takers.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And then how was it in terms of like spectating? Like, what was there decent setup for like the spectating routes? Was there a good turnout for that?
I think so. Absolutely. Where the gauntlets were, the park was just accessible so well to the public. And so where they set up those gauntlets, you saw crowds of people. It was so exciting getting to the Helheim, and you're the only person on the rig, and on both sides, people are recording you and taking photos. And so it was in the same way with when you're going back into the stadium. I thought it was very spectator friendly.
Awesome. Yeah, that's definitely what I miss most about OCRWC when it was in Stratton too. Like the feel of that many people out there, and not so much in this case with Stratton, but like the thought that like a random person could stroll up to the park and be like, "What's going on? What's this sport? Oh my God, this is the World Championships." Does wonder for exposure. So it's happy to hear that.
Especially for Helheim, I think a lot of the people watching that obstacle weren't even people there for the race. They were people that were just strolling through the park and were like, "Oh, cool, we'll watch this for 20 minutes."
That's great. So you guys talked about how there's the short course, there's the they call it the standard course, and then there's also the relay. So you said they made some changes to it. Can you tell me how it was previously and how it is this year?
Kevin will have more info on the Belgium relay, but on the Costa Rica relay, it was actually a 5K. And I was on the national women's team for the 5K event. I did like that format because you had to run together, and then every teammate has to go through every rig. So they basically they extended the short course in Costa Rica, added some more team obstacles, but then you're going through some of the same rigs that we did in the short course. And I think the obstacle proficiency challenge was higher in Costa Rica for that. But for Sweden, they had a really unique setup where it really was more of a relay style race. And I was on the elite women's national team, and I took the first leg. And so they actually had it to where on the 2K for Sweden, each athlete in your team does an individual lap. So I'll do a 2K lap. Kaylee will do a 2K lap, and Elise will do another one. And then at the end, all three of us will go through a lap, but now you're only going through the team obstacles. And so that made it really interesting. I think that changed the placement, especially once you got to the team route.
Yeah, for sure. That was very exciting. Definitely wasn't what I was expecting. And I was a little apprehensive about it going in because I was thinking that it was just going to play out exactly like the short course, because the Netherlands team had the top three guys from the short course on their team. And I was like, oh man, they're just going to run away with it. But it definitely made it still super interesting because you had to have such great chemistry on the team obstacles, because you could be great on the individual, but if your chemistry isn't as good on the team, then you're going to slow way down. And that's kind of how it played out for the men's relay team. In Belgium, it was a super long race. I want to say it was 10 or 12K for the team race. And they took you like way out there, but everyone was running together, but they still had some awesome team obstacles. And then Costa Rica was similar, just shorter. And then now this year with that new, you go, or your two teammates go and you go, and then you all go together. It definitely was much more exciting, and like everybody was so hyped to watch it while they were waiting in the arena.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like the having a good blend of both, because you're right. They could either be all team obstacles or a relay race style, but I think a blend of those is definitely the most exciting. Something that bothers me a lot with media, myself included, is there's not enough attention given to the team events. So I think of they might have changed it by now, but like I didn't see anyone post about like the team results or anything. While that is probably one of my favorite events, because the camaraderie and athletes seem to like it because you're counting on each other and it's a different dynamic compared to competing against your peers and everything. Do you know like how that shaked out, like with the top teams and everything for those events?
On the women's side, it was Sweden, Netherlands, and then Germany took the podium, and USA was fourth. We could have had it. I'm feeling that, but I'm like, me and my teammates were so proud of how we did it. Like we've gone through every single obstacle. The team wall was the deciding factor of the race.
I had heard from Team UK that the wall was difficult because there were ropes, and so there were only like a few parts where you could jump from, and some of the like ground had been worn down, and so it was really tough for some people.
Yeah,
and it was
I think that's
soaking wet because it was raining.
Yeah.
It made that wall so slick.
And then for the team races, is there like a male, a female, and like a co-ed? Is there like three different events, or how does that work?
Yeah,
that's correct.
that
There's an all-male
sense.
team. Yeah, all-female team. And then the mixed team was 2 men and 2 women. So
Which
they
that
had to
changed
do
this year,
5
right?
laps total. Yes. Yes, because last year it was you had to have at least one woman. Because that was me, Logan, and Nicole last year.
Okay.
But this year, 2 women, 2 men.
I'm kind of glad that they made that change. So I feel like if they were just to say like, oh, at least one woman, it's like, okay, just one woman. But like now it's more balanced. And yeah, I definitely want to go back and check that out. Have you guys seen the like footage of the event too? I know that I think it was like Meg was one of the commentators.
We've definitely seen the live stream from the YouTube live stream. And actually they did a great job with getting like everybody that competed, from the elites all the way down to age group. And so they mostly, and Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like maybe most of the footage was in the stadium, like especially around the team wall, and then the Gatorade rig and the rings and pipes rig. But it was basically any of the spectators, families, other athletes that took footage whenever it was within the other parts of the 2K course.
I did see, I went back and watched the Elite Men's 3K, and there was a good amount of footage that they got outside of the stadium as well.
Okay.
Not a ton, but a decent amount. So that was nice as well to get more than just in the stadium. But they were very good at getting it in the stadium.
Good. I'm glad to hear that because a huge factor to that is like how much service do they have there, and so I'm glad to hear. I didn't hear really any complaints about the live stream, so I'm very happy to hear that. Before we start to transition a little bit to USA OCR, did you guys have any like final thoughts, other things to bring up about the event in Sweden?
Only other positives. It really was an incredible experience. I think especially for our national team members that this was their first year. I mean, I hope it just keeps getting better and better because like Kevin went through it whenever it was going through the growing pains. I gone through it with Costa Rica, and I think it's just been improving every year. And so we are very excited to be able to compete in Limerick, Ireland next year, in August.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing we didn't really mention was the 100 meter as well. They did a great job of having that being very center stage as well. In the stadium, it was like the back or where you were sitting in the stadium. It was directly in front of you, and then all the other obstacles and the finishing for the 3K and the 12K were right behind that on the infield. And so you got to watch everything happen at once. And watching the best in the world go at it in the 100 meter is one of the most exciting things. I come from the ninja world as well, so that's what I'm kind of used to. And so getting to see a lot of like my friends and like the kids I coach do that as well was just awesome.
I'm glad you brought that up because I completely forgot about that event. I never viewed myself as being someone that was interested in ninja, never really watched American Ninja Warrior or any of that stuff, but it definitely caught the bug when I saw it again in Stratton OCRWC. I saw how interesting, with a well-developed course, that event can be. So I'm glad to hear that that was a big hit as well. How did they do it in terms of like run times for the 100 meter?
So everyone gets to kind of like choose their qualifying time slots. And so it's like, I want to run on Thursday at 3 p.m. So everyone gets two like official qualifying runs. And then I believe Thursday morning, maybe. And I know Wednesday they had like practice sessions. So you could be on the course and everyone can be practicing the different obstacles because they're always this year they tweaked the courses a little bit, but theoretically they're always the same obstacles in the same order. So you know what you're going to see. So, but you still want to get a little practice ahead of time. And then you get your two qualifying runs. And then if your qualifying time is in the top 16, you move on to the finals, which happen Friday or Saturday. And then in the finals, it's just head to head. So 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, and so on. And then they just make it bracket style all the way to the finish.
Awesome. Now, in choosing your times, was it when you signed up or was it when you got to the venue and they were doing registration?
It was in between. Because you register online ahead of time, because I think you had to be registered 3 weeks ahead of time, something like that. And then maybe a week or two ahead of time, they sent out like an email to those athletes saying, hey, come choose your qualifying time slots.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I only ask because I can only imagine it being a crazy rush to avoid the times where it's going to be pouring, especially if that's a factor.
Yeah, it definitely was this year. They have what's called wet weather rules. So if it's raining or there's like a chance of rain, sometimes they'll implement the rain rules. And so you have to like use the first implement on everything. So on the monkey bars, you have to use the first bar. On the cliffhangers, you have to engage the first hold. On the rings, you have to grab the first one. That way, no one risks jumping out farther, grabbing and slipping. It makes times be a little bit slower, but it's safer overall. And once they implement it for one qualifying time slot, it's implemented for all qualifying time slots. So I think everybody had it for qualifying, even though some people did their runs in the pouring rain, and the course might have been wet, but it wasn't actively raining on them.
I had not ever heard of wet weather rules, but I think that's absolutely brilliant. That's great thinking ahead. And as a behavioral analyst, I like to hear when the rule book supports athletes in that way. So that's awesome. And then we talked about how next year it's going to be in Limerick. I know some Irish athletes. What's the OCR like community there? Like similar, it's not going to be. Just trying to think if it's not going to be like when it moved to Costa Rica. There's a bigger OCR feel in Ireland, right?
believe so. I think that's something that we're gonna have to look into a little bit more, because I don't readily know.
I don't believe there's a huge population in there, but I think it is fairly large. And I know like the UK as a whole has a really big like
Mhm.
OCR scene. So it's very easy for them to get over. And it's just easier for most of Europe as well, where like in Costa Rica, there wasn't nearly as many Europeans. Most of the top ones are still there, but as a whole, like a lot of the age groupers chose not to travel, I believe. But now it's still only maybe 2-3 hour flight for them. So it's not nearly as far.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the championship events move to Europe because UK does have such a pronounced field. What was the around the shakeup of athletes? Like, was it a good mix of athletes, or was it mainly like UK dominated, mostly like Swedish athletes? What did you feel that, if you were to guess?
I had a good representation of different countries. Absolutely. Yeah, because I remember New Zealand, I remember France, some of the big countries, Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden.
Japan.
Yeah, Japan, Philippines. It's chasing a lot of the Filipinos. And then, yeah, no, I thought it was well represented. Absolutely.
Perfect. And that is what makes a world championship event more than, who's putting it on, the rule book, everything. It's who's showing up to these events, and that's awesome. That's what makes it a world championship. So, yeah, glad to hear that it's a success.
Oh, sorry. I would also like to say that the para-adaptive team and the para-adaptive athletes, it was a good turnout as well. And so I'm trying to think how many countries were represented, but it was still neat to see that that we could have a para-adaptive national team relay and participation in the 3K and the 12K.
That's awesome. And then I know for USAOCR, is Kataspati in charge of the Paralympic team?
Yep, Alex. Yep.
Yeah.
Alex
Awesome.
Kataspati.
Love it. Awesome. So transitioning to USAOCR itself, how have things been going with it? I know it had a rocky past. Things have been getting a lot better. I had Ian on the show. What's new with you guys? What are you focused on now?
Well, I feel like we've had a board change, right? We kept adding more people since the beginning of the year, since December. And I think I was one of the first, Brent George, he was added. He's our finance chair. And then both Kevin and Brent came to me and asked about me taking on the position as the communications chair for USAOCR. And I gladly accepted. And from there on, we had people that were about to end their term within their position and on the board. And so we needed a new secretary. I brought in Andrew Brodeur as secretary. And then he just has a wealth of connections. And he brought on our new board chair, Floyd Anderson. And it's been fantastic with the new leadership that we have, and just trying to do a lot of things that are happening in the background and serving the national team.
Yeah, I think almost everybody on the board is new this year, besides Russ and Alex, I believe.
Megan?
Yeah. She was still relatively new in the long run, though. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. Yeah.
And then we brought in John Howard for medic chair.
Nice.
Yeah, so basically that full new changeover. But I think we still represent a lot of what the first board, a lot of like their first ideas and passions of how we want USAOCR to run, and as opposed to what it could have been in the past.
Gotcha. And so you're going to be putting on another championship event in June, right? I meant to do an episode on the event last time, but the guest fell through and things just didn't work out. Can you tell me a little bit about like the highs and lows of the event last year? It was in Georgia, right?
Oh, okay. So we're talking about yes, in Dalton, Georgia.
Yes.
It was, I guess, technically called our inaugural national championships, and that one was hosted with Phoenix Race. And they collaborated with a few other OCR brands, as well as a Ninja Gym up in North Carolina, Warrior Tech. And I think there were some challenges getting everything together, but one of the challenges was whenever the hurricane hit within that area. And so there was access issues, there was transportation issues getting rigs over. Beautiful venue, by the way. That park is amazing. Actually, that was an amazing venue.
I heard great things about the venue. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think as far as the obstacle presence, it was a little low. It was a little low. But I don't know if you wanted to dive more into that, or if the cat's out of the bag with the 2026 national championships.
Yeah, we could jump into it.
It hasn't been officially promoted yet. I know I'm the communications chair. I need to be getting that out. However, WarX is our host. We are collaborating with them, and it's been really interesting. We've been talking to different independent OCRs, and the hope is that we can change the location to the different independent OCRs, especially in the Midwest. Has been a huge presence. A lot of the OCRs, they're really challenging, and I think that's kind of the strategy that we're going to go with in the future. And Kevin and I both raced. Wait, I'm sorry, Kevin, you weren't at WarX this year. You were at WarX last year.
Correct. Yeah, I did not get to go last year. It was the same weekend as a ninja event. So
as a ninja event, that's right. Well, what was interesting that WarX actually acquired Indian Mud Run's obstacles, and so they integrated that into their course, and it was very challenging, very fun. The terrain itself, their venue is hard as is, especially being in June, as hot as it is, and so we thought it actually was going to be a perfect place to host the national championships in 2026.
I've heard nothing but amazing things about WarX, and I think it's very smart that instead of like trying to put on the event itself, you're partnering with someone that has experience to put on the event, because USAOCR, I think, probably does best when they are managing rules and regulations and like the bigger stuff than the actual like event day planning too. So how did that combination come about?
Well, I mean, whenever I went up there to race, Russ Blatt, our athletes chair, I mean, he talked to Jake Moore. I mean, he asked him what his thoughts were. I went up there and talked to Jake in person, and he loved it. I mean, he was just like, yeah, why not? It did require to change a little bit of their race format, because typically they have a trilogy throughout the weekend where they have the 10K, and then they have a trail race, and then they kind of have a battle challenge. That's fun. But they've completely embraced doing the 12K on Saturday, doing the 3K event on Sunday, and then using the 3-band system. So this is going to be a really unique change to WarX, with as difficult as their race is to utilize the 3-band system.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be a great base race for athletes to get used to the 3-band system, as it will be implemented in other world championships, especially over in Europe with how hard their obstacles are. I think this race is going to mimic that very well and allow us to help choose the best athletes to send over there.
Right. And so that is part of your intention too, like to figure out who the elite team would be for the following year, right?
Ooh, that's actually the interesting part, and we can get into that. This is actually going to select the 2027 national team. WarX is typically in the last week of June every year, and Ireland is actually going to be August 6th through the 9th. So the lead time in preparation, getting the team together, that's kind of short time to have a 2026 team. So it will stagger.
That makes sense. And then with that, selecting the team for 2027, how have you previously selected who gets to compete?
In the past, it's been an application system, and it still will be for 2027. The race next year will just help. It'll be worth more points than other races because the application works on a tier basis. So the most important race, the World Championships, is worth the most points. So if you win the World Championships, you get automatic entry onto Team USA for the following year. But say you came in 11th, like I did this year, I'll be able to look at the chart and it'll be like, oh, you came in 11th place, that's worth this amount of points. And then if I say win a Savage race, that's a lower tier, And so I'd be able to look at that and be like, okay, this is this amount of points. And if I combine those two, that'll be my points for my application.
Gotcha. And is it just the top X amount of people who have the most points, or do you have a certain amount of points to even be considered?
Well, for the elite application, at least for the 2025 team, there was a minimum amount of points that you needed. Like one of your races had to be, I think it was like 11.9 points, just the way that they did the math. And the only way that you could do that without, winning a tier one race like the FISO OCR World Championships is you technically had to win one of the independent OCRs. So for most athletes, that was going to be the deciding factor if you even can submit an application. Another way that was also got in a lot of athletes was the national championships that we hosted in Dalton, Georgia. So the athletes committee is going to assign the point system for each tier. It won't be exactly like last year, I don't anticipate. But it will still be your top two races that are qualifiers. That is posted on our Instagram page. And then there's also a tiebreaker in the event that your points ties with another application. So
good. And how has the reception been? I know that it's been having the roughest time in the United States because we're used to everything being privately owned and everything, so they don't really fully understand the whole federated, the cause for that. But how have you seen that the growth in more athletes wanting to qualify?
I think over the past 2 years of seeing Belgium and then Costa Rica and now Sweden, I think it has significantly grown over the last couple of years, especially this year. I think in Sweden we had, maybe besides Sweden, I think we had the biggest team there. There were so many athletes. We had Vivien, did we have over 120? Do you remember the final count?
We had a little under 115. We just had some last minute people that had to drop out either due to injury or something came up. So yeah, it was around 110 athletes altogether.
Yeah, and I believe after the feedback a lot of people are going to give from this year with how great Sweden was, I believe we'll have quite a few more apply next year, and then it'll get harder and harder to make decisions for certain positions on the team, especially the 100-meter team, because we only get a certain amount of slots to give to those athletes.
Yeah, no, that's a good problem, though. I'm happy to hear that. And if someone's listening to this who's an elite athlete or an aspiring elite athlete, where do they go to find additional information on this whole process? Are there any people they could reach out to?
They can reach out to any of us on the USAOCR board. We're all well versed in the application process. Russ Blatt is definitely going to be the primary source to discuss about it. We're going to have more information on the 2026 application in November and December because we want to choose the team a lot earlier. Again, a lot of things in the background that we have to take care of to make sure that we get enough lead time. More information will be promoted on our Instagram page and as well as our website. That will be coming up soon. But as far as the 2026 team, I think a lot of the races for this year that are considered qualifiers have already passed. Basically, any of the independent OCRs that you've seen in the Midwest were qualifiers. All the Savage races are. Spartan. We're only considering World Championship and National Championship results for that. Regular season will not count. And then any other world or regional Pan American championships, those are going to be within our tier twos category. And I guess one of the ones that are coming up is the UIPM in China. And then Hvar, Croatia is going to happen. So that will be points towards the 100 meter as well as the 3K. And then I'm not sure if Spartan is still doing Abu Dhabi or not.
What about the Super Championships? Would that be another regional?
That would count.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Any technical world championship will count.
And starting to come to a close, is there anything that I missed in terms of USAOCR? Again, not my expertise the most, so anything more that you can teach me, tell me, and the rest of our listeners?
If you want to know more information, I mean, please go on the website, USAOCR.org. We are a nonprofit organization. All the donations and proceeds, sponsorships, I mean, it helps out our national team. Like, we do want to try to grow this sport. I know that there's been comments across this that OCR is dead, but there's so many people here that we love and we're very passionate about the sport. And it's been really amazing seeing the growth of the national team and how proud everybody was with their performance and representing the United States. I think this can be a bigger thing. So please go on our website, consider donating, and like be a part of the team, be a part of the organization. It would mean a lot.
That's another thing too. Who would they reach out to if they're interested in helping volunteer too?
Well, anybody on the board, I mean, please reach out to me. I am communications chair. You can email me at communications@usaocr.org. You can reach out to me on my Instagram, my personal one's at Viv and Let Viv, or you can go to the USA OCR page and I will respond. Yeah, so any general questions, any donations, sponsorships, or interest within being a part of the team, yeah, please do reach out.
Yeah, for sure. Same with me here. And I know a lot of our team, both age group and the elite members, are constantly at races throughout the US and the world because we all go all over. But if there's a race happening that weekend, it's more than likely that one of us will be there. So please feel free to talk to anybody in person. And then, like Vivien said, the board members probably have most of the best information, but I know a lot of our age groupers care a lot about this as well. And so they're in it for the long haul, and they'd be more than happy to help direct you guys the way you like to go.
Yeah. And then on a personal note, what do you guys have for events planned for the rest of the year? I know it's starting to come to a close, but...
Ones that are sanctioned by USAOCR, or just mean us racing as
just racing as athletes.
We have Midwest OCR coming up. That's the big one. I think that's probably one of the bigger independent OCRs that we're all looking forward to. I think there's a couple more Savages left. And then there's Spartan Dallas, it's local to me. I'll probably be there. So
perfect. How about you, Kevin?
Midwest OCR, besides like FISO OCR Worlds, that's like my A race for the year. And then I'll be at the Savage, Florida. It's not the finals of the series anymore because there's not really a series, but they're putting out bigger money for that race since it's kind of like their final race of the year. So I'll be there. I know a lot of other people, great fast guys will be there as well, and ladies. They're just as fast as most of the men, if not faster. And then maybe I might be at like Spartan, South Carolina, because local, but it might interfere with the Ninja event. As OCR dies down, Ninja picks up, and I transition from one sport to another. Less competing in Ninja, more coaching, but I get out there every now and then.
Yeah, no, that's got to be rewarding.
It's definitely the best, and I'm afraid if any of my kids ever start running more, what they'll do to me in OCR.
Yep, absolutely. And then Vivien shared where we can find her on social media. I'll tag that. And then Kevin, where can people follow you on social media as well?
Mine's Kev_Thompson, just my first and last name, parts of it. Nothing fancy.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time, and thank you for informing me of how successful the event went in Sweden. I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Mike.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome back.
Thank you to Vivien and Kevin, and also everyone else who supports USA OCR, whether you're on the board, volunteer, this and that. Well, even those on the board are volunteers. But yeah, appreciate it. You're pushing a good thing forward, and I respect that. For related episodes, episode 351.
FISO OCR World Championship with short course champion
Gian Maria Savani.
Oh, good job.
I believe that was the Belgium event.
Episode 353.
Ian Hosick on FISO OCR World Championships, OCRWC, and Tough Mudder Saudi Arabia Morality. That was an interesting episode.
Episode 387
was the last time we had Vivien on. So that was Vivien Tran on Spartan US National Series, Mudgear Hannibal Race Pro Team, ASCO, Spartacus Dash, and more.
Episode 404
was Yaris Cruz on Puerto Rico, World Obstacles OCR World Championships, and winning Midwest OCR.
Subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcasts. We are Obstacle Running Adventures on all of the podcast players. And if you liked what you heard, leave us a review on that purple podcast app.
Yeah, people haven't been doing that in a while. And that's fine, because it doesn't really do much to help the show, but it's nice to get feedback.
No, but the last one we got was...
No way, really?
A 1-star review.
Still? That guy?
Yeah.
Huh.
He didn't like the classless cussing and blasphemy.
Sorry, go fuck yourself.
Michael. Follow us on social media on Instagram and Facebook. And if you'd like to see some cute puppiness, that is where you'll find her.
Yeah, we'll probably post her more in stories and stuff like that. People love that. I mean, people love the videos of Lambo.
That's true.
Yeah. And if you want to support us financially over on Patreon, you can join on the website and not the app, since Apple will charge you additional fees. But it's as little as $2, as many as $10, and you get some pretty good perks, if I do say so myself.
Coming up next, to be determined.
Yeah, either Caitlin's going to follow through with that book interview from April.
Well, this is not on me.
Or OCRC WC. I want to do an episode on that, so I'm going to be reaching back out to some people about that. Caitlin, I got a joke. Do you have a quote?
I do. My quote is, we cannot shame ourselves into change. We can only love ourselves into an evolution.
Nice. My joke is, a captain notices a light in the distance on a collision course with his ship. He turns on his signal lamp and sends, "Change your course 10 degrees west." The light signals back, "Change yours 10 degrees east." The captain gets a little annoyed. He signals, "I am a U.S. Navy captain. You must change your course, sir." The light signals back, "I am a seaman first class. You must change your course, sir." Now the captain is mad. He signals, "I'm an aircraft carrier. I'm not changing my course." The light signals back a final message, "I'm a lighthouse. Your call."
That's funny.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure where that was going.
That's fair. All right, well, that just about wraps it up. My name's Michael Stefano.
And my name's Caitlin Ritter.
We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you're feeling motivated, inspired,
And ready to take on your next race or training run.
If you've enjoyed this week's episode, leave us a review
and share it with your fellow adventurous friends.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Obstacle Running Adventures.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Join us every week for more news,
Stories and interviews from the community.
Our intro song was Streaker by Straight Up.
Our outro music is Iron Paw by The Best.
Evan prepares his like strength and speed, that team too, right?
Not as a team. I know that within Strength and Speed, that was Evan's. I know that was Evan's podcast, but I'm not affiliated with that team. Just that, yeah, only the Mudgear Hannibal Race Pro team.
That one, perfect.
How long until you think we can have Lucy on the podcast?
Oh my god.
I know.
So fun.
Too rambunctious right now. She's taking a nap.
Yeah.
Puppies need to sleep a lot,
I didn't realize that.
which is good. She's big and strong and better shape than me.